In today's video, we have 3 topics to cover, starting out with the fact that we are now in June, which means Valve has less than a month to hit the first half of 2026 window for the Steam Machine and Steam Frame. So will they do it? After that, let's talk about how the Steam Deck price hike has gone global. And finally, September is stacked with games you should add to your wish list for Steam Machine and Steam Deck. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware, and I hope you are having a great week playing a ton of video games. 2 quick PSAs before we get into the news. First of all, I will be at Summer Games Fest this weekend, so if you see me, come up and say hi. Second of all, 80% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed, so if you're one of those people, subscribe, set your notifications to all. But let's get into the first topic of today's video, which is, because right now it's June 3rd, I have a lot of videos in the backlog, so it'll be a couple days before this goes up, but the point still stands that we have less than a month for Valve to release the Steam Machine and Steam Frame, and I think they're going to do it. The big evidence we have, of course, is the latest SteamOS update that includes a bunch of stuff for the Steam Machine. I mean, they've been getting it ready with the past few updates, but the latest one comes with the welcome tour. If you don't know what that is, essentially the first time you boot up a SteamOS device, it gives you a little bit of a tour of the interface. It's like, hey, hit the 3 dots button to pull up the quick access menu, and you can set the, megahertz of the GPU, limit your frame rate, do all that stuff. And if you want to get to your navigation menu, you hit the Steam button. There's also a menu that lets you know that it has an SD card slot, which I think a lot of people are going to end up using now because, of course, storage is through the roof. And if they're building in the welcome tour, that stands to reason that, that's one of the last things you would do on the list of stuff to get ready before this thing comes out. And on top of that, with the Steam controller, the welcome tour came out just a couple of weeks before it was announced with the release date and the price and all that. So either way, I mean, this video might even never go up because maybe they're going to announce it very soon. The second piece of evidence, of course, is that Summer Games Fest is this weekend. I talked about Jeff Keighley tweeting out the GIF of the Steam coming out of the pipe. You had to type in Steam to actually find that GIF. People brought up that he does teases like that all the time, and when it comes to these June showcases, I never let myself get hyped. People just got burned majorly with the state of play from Sony because they showed it in movie theaters. So people were like, oh, it's over an hour, it's showing in movie theaters, this is going to be massive. When in reality, I think the reason it was in movie theaters is because Sony owns a big chunk, if not all, of the Alamo Drafthouse theater chain. So like they're just capitalizing on an investment. It's a cool experience, and the timing just worked out in a weird way. And also, when it comes to these June showcases, I mean, it's not like E3 where every publisher had their own showcase, right? Like that divvied things up. The first party publishers like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, they were making way more games when E3 was still around. Like we'd see up to like 5 or 6 games that they were making internally, both first party and second party. Now, because all these studios have shut down and games take 7 years to make, I mean, we are lucky if we get 1 or 2 big first party games at any of these showcases that the publishers do. So all of that is to say, I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but that is a weirdly specific gift to just tweet out in response to an announcement about the Summer Games Fest showcase. It doesn't really help me if they announce it there because I will be trapped inside the theater and I won't be able to rush out and do a video, but I just want this stuff announced and out the door because we've been waiting for it since November, and this is the 6th month of 2026. So we've officially been waiting for the release date and price for over 6 months now. I have no idea where the price is going to shake out. I mean, no one really does. No one ever has. We know that the initial target they were looking at was $800. I talked about this recently, but I think maybe they can hit it with the 512 without a controller. I hope that works out and they're able to eat the cost on just one of the different SKUs and then make it back on the higher price models. But either way, I think I'm pretty sure that they're going to release it soon because it's really getting down to the shit or get off the pot moment where you're going to burn all the goodwill and excitement from the big pool of people who are excited to buy this thing. And it's pretty clear at this point that RAM prices are not only not going to come down, but it looks like they could go up. I thought we were like entering the peak because they started to fall right around February and March of this year. It seemed like we were heading in a good direction, and then bam, all the the prices go up. The Legion Go 2 is $2,000. The ROG Xbox Ally X X20 is probably going to be pretty expensive because of the OLED screen and the glasses bundle. The Legion Go S is like $1,000. And now, of course, the Steam Deck is $780 and $950 respectively. PlayStations are going up in price. Nintendo's raising the price to $500. It's crazy how prices are going up. And from what I've been reading, having done a little bit of research on this, we're either at the peak or in the beginning stages. And just from my cursory glance, it looks like we're leaning towards the beginning stages. So we could see them rise even more. So either way, it helps Valve to get this thing out sooner rather than later and just try to hit the best price point. There's a big group of people out there who are never going to be happy with the price, right? Like they want it to be $350 or $400. That's absolutely delusional. Even in the best market conditions, I think that's delusional. When you're talking about PC, the only reason people bought consoles was because they were roughly half the price of a pretty decent gaming PC and you got all the games, including exclusives. And then when the handhelds came out, they were a good entry point because they hit these like $400 price tags or $400 to $7 zone of price tags. And then now all the prices have gone up. So while relative to everything else, they're roughly shaking out the same, everything has gotten more expensive and PC has never been the cheap lane to go when it comes to gaming. So I just think there's a group of people who are looking to ditch Sony, ditch Microsoft, ditch Nintendo, who are always going to be disappointed and are probably just going to stick with what they already have. And that's fine. All they have to do is find an acceptable price window for hardcore Steam users. And I think at this point, I mean, no one's happy about it, but at least people understand what's going on. I recommended it in my last video, but definitely check out Dave 2D's video on the RAM situation because it explains how difficult it is to actually get a RAM company off the ground and does a good job kind of bringing things back down to reality. And I know people are looking at it kind of disappointed that Valve didn't do them a solid and just subsidize the price and sell these things at a massive loss. There is the potential that, you know, they're using the higher Steam Deck price to offset the machine, which I'm not really on board with. I don't see the benefit there. And also, it's a business at the end of the day, right? Like they have math to figure out how little or much they can sell these things at to still make money back from people buying games. And that's what they just have to do at the end of the day. It doesn't make it a good situation. It's just the reality of it. So all of this kind of just funnels down into it's time to release the Steam Machine in Steam Frame. Moving on to the second news story, the Steam Deck price hike has gone global. Komodo announced new prices for the Steam Deck OLED 512 and 1 terabyte, and they're getting roughly the same percentage increase as the Steam Deck here in the United States. So basically in Japan, it equals out to $864 for the 512. That's a 38% increase. That's more than we're paying for it, which is crazy. Again, this is the second price increase they've had. And then the 1 terabyte is $1,051. So a full $100 more than the Steam Deck OLED here in the United States. That probably has to do with shipping and tariffs and all that. I don't really know. Regardless, I don't know how well these things were selling in places like Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, but like if you're trying to enter a new market, you want these things as cheap as possible, and these prices are going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. I don't know how big PC gaming is in Japan, but like if you're there, I feel like you're going for those Japan exclusive models of like the Switch 2 that are a lot cheaper, but they're region locked. There's also one made by Sony, a PS5 that's region locked to Japan that has a cheaper price. I think people generally over there are going more for the Switch 2. It's homegrown. It always makes sense why Nintendo does well there. Maybe it would make sense to like wind down the Steam Deck 1 in these regions and just move them over here. I can't imagine the hardware is any different. Like maybe the software is different and then you could just update to the right Steam OS, and having more of them could reduce the price. Or, you know, maybe just to keep the factories that are making this stuff in commission, they have to keep them in stock, which means raising the price and putting them on shelves. It's not a good situation, but it just goes to show this is not a problem just for the United States. It's worldwide, and it's probably just going to keep getting worse. So I'll try to be optimistic, but also realistic with my coverage on it. And because I don't want this video to be all doom and gloom, I was looking at release dates for the rest of the year, and it looks like September, if all these games stay with their release dates, is going to be one of the biggest months ever in the history of gaming for new stuff to play. So I picked out a few that really stood out to me that you might want to add to your wish list for not only the Steam Deck, but the Steam Machine, because I am am just choosing to believe that by September, the Steam Machine will be in our hands and we'll be playing games on it. So starting out on September 8th, we have Halloween the game. And even though this is in Unreal Engine 5, I'm feeling pretty hopeful after games like Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Also, 30 FPS should be just fine in this game because it's a slow-paced, asymmetrical third-person multiplayer game. It looks awesome. I love Friday the 13th, the game. I thought Predator Hunting Grounds had potential. I think this is going to be Ilphonic's breakout moment, and I just can't believe we're getting a multiplayer game in the Halloween world. If you guys didn't know, my all-time favorite horror movie is Halloween. I love Michael Myers. He sits on my lawn every October. I'll show you guys a picture. And yeah, obviously I'm very excited for this game. I hope it does well enough to last more than like 8 months, like every other asymmetrical multiplayer horror game. But with the IP of Halloween, I think this one has a great shot to succeed. And again, if it doesn't run on Steam Deck, it'll definitely run on the Steam Machine. And all the other asymmetrical horror games have worked fine with anti-cheat, so this one shouldn't be a problem either. Then on Thursday, September 24th, we've got Control Resonant. One of the marquee games for the Steam Deck since the very start was the original Control, and even though it's easy to run, it's pushing graphics tech pretty hard, so I'm really hopeful for this game. They just put out the PC spec sheet, and it looks like you're going to get good performance with the 6700 XT GPU, which is roughly in the window of what the Steam Machine will have. So like if it doesn't run on Steam Deck, it'll run on Steam Machine just fine. I'm really excited for this game. If one game on this list gets delayed, I hope it's this one because I'm a huge Remedy fan. Their games just don't sell. They need to have a wide open window to release it. So let September be crazy. Let GTA come out. Let people play through GTA. Wait till a little bit into 2027 and then release it. I think that would do well for them. But either way, I'm buying this game day one and I hope it runs on the Steam Deck, but I'm pretty confident it'll run on the Steam Machine. The one that I'm most excited for though on this list after playing the demo is Onimusha Way of the Sword. You can play the demo right now and it runs at a mix of medium and high settings on the Steam Deck at a lock 30. I think it kind of looks Souls-like-ish, like maybe more like Sekiro. This is a huge blind spot franchise for me. I know that after Resident Evil took off, they spun it off into Devil May Cry and Onimusha and a few other franchises, and I don't know why I just never heard about this growing up, but this game looks absolutely phenomenal. There's Jake again making his cameo in the video with Discord. I'm excited to play the demo because it looks very horror inspired. Like it's not a full-on horror game, but like you're a samurai fighting monsters and it's got parrying and all that, and I like that it's melee focused but you're planted on the ground. Every person I know who's played this game has said nothing but good things about it, so if I had to pick 1 or 2 games out of this entire list that I've listed off so far, it would be this and Halloween as the ones that I'm guaranteed going to play. And then finally, we've got Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thev. I don't know how to say it, but it's Ace Combat 8. Ace Combat 7 is excellent on the Steam Deck. I recently played through Ace Combat 4, 5, and 0. This series is awesome. I know it's niche. More people need to play it because it's so damn cool. This one's Unreal Engine 5, but because, you know, it's like a wide open area, like you're flying around in the sky, it looks like there's a lot of NPC planes flying around, but like overall, it shouldn't be too taxing on the CPU. It might have trouble on the Steam Deck, but I don't think it'll have issues on the Steam Machine. You can actually play through the entire series before this new game comes out because they're not very long. You can do 4, 5, and 0 emulated for PS2 and upscale them. They look great and run great. And then 7 is always like $5 on Steam. It has Top Gun Maverick DLC, excellent game. And then you'll be ready to go for 8. So yeah, I think some of these will probably move to after 2026. They're just going to wait and see what the interest level is on all of these. But this is not even the full list probably for September. I mean, there's 2 more showcases this week between Summer Games Fest and Xbox. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, the 2 I'd pick are Onimusha Way of the Sword and Halloween the game, and it's cool that we can look forward to games on the Steam Machine. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.